The Champawat Tigress, the deadliest man-eater in history. Imagine walking through a forest path you've traveled your entire life, only to realize that somewhere in the undergrowth, something is waiting for you. Not a myth, not a ghost, but a tiger. And not just any tiger, a single tigress so feared that entire villages abandoned their fields, schools emptied, and people refused to step outside after sunrise. Before her story ended, she would be blamed for the deaths of approximately 436 people, making her the deadliest recorded man-eating tiger in history. This is the true story of the Champawat Tigress and the man who risked everything to stop her, Jim Corbett.
There are tigers that hunt deer, tigers that stalk wild boar, and tigers that vanish into the jungle without ever troubling mankind. And then there was the tiger of Champawat. By the time I was asked to hunt her, she had already claimed hundreds of human lives across Nepal and India. Entire villages lived in terror. Footpaths fell silent after sunrise, and no mother allowed her child beyond the doorstep alone. I had hunted many animals before, but this was different. This was not sport. This was duty. The first thing I noticed was not what I saw, but what I did not hear. No women gathering wood, no children laughing, no shepherd singing to his flock. Doors remained shut despite the daylight. When I asked why, an old villager merely pointed toward the forest and whispered,
"Sahab, वह जब चाहे तब आती है."
She comes whenever she pleases. The tiger had become bold beyond imagination. People dared not travel alone, and even groups moved with fear in their eyes. Many stories reached my ears, but I trusted only those that could be verified. Again and again I found the same pattern. A victim walking a familiar path, a sudden attack from cover, and a village left in mourning.
A predator unlike any other. The Champawat Tigress began her reign of terror in the forests of Nepal in the late 19th century. For years, villagers disappeared one by one. Woodcutters never returned home. Women collecting fodder vanished without warning. Travelers simply ceased to exist. According to historical records later documented by Jim Corbett, Nepalese authorities and soldiers attempted to hunt her, but failed. Eventually, she was driven across the border into British India, where the nightmare continued in the Kumaon region. What made her so terrifying wasn't just the number of victims, it was her boldness. Unlike most tigers, which avoid humans whenever possible, this tigress reportedly hunted people in broad daylight and often close to villages. Fear spread so deeply that ordinary daily tasks became life-threatening. The psychological impact of the Champawat Tigress was immense. Imagine hearing that a predator had killed hundreds of people and knowing it was still somewhere in the nearby forest. Farmers abandoned their fields. Children stopped attending school. Essential travel between villages became dangerous. Some communities waited until large groups could move together before venturing outside. Every broken twig, every rustle in the bushes, every shadow beneath the trees could signal death. When conventional efforts failed, local authorities sought help from a man whose reputation was already growing across northern India. Jim Corbett. Unlike many hunters of his era, Corbett believed that healthy tigers were rarely enemies of humans. He admired the species and understood its behavior with remarkable precision. But this mission was different. The objective was not sport. It was to stop a predator that had terrorized an entire region for years. Corbett accepted the challenge, knowing that one mistake could cost him his life. Finding the Champawat Tigress was far from simple. The forests of Kumaon were rugged, steep, and densely vegetated. Fresh tracks could disappear after rain. Rocky slopes revealed almost nothing. Dense undergrowth offered countless hiding places. Even worse, Corbett was pursuing an animal that had repeatedly evaded hunters and survived years of attempts to kill her. Every clue had to be interpreted carefully. A pug mark pressed into soft soil, disturbed leaves, alarm calls from monkeys, or the sudden silence of birds. One wrong judgment could place the hunter within striking distance of an ambush predator, capable of covering astonishing ground in seconds. The hunt.
Tracking a tiger is less about seeing the beast than understanding the signs she leaves behind. There, in the damp earth, lay pug marks, large, clear. The stride was confident. No hesitation, no wandering. She knew every ravine and every patch of cover. The prints also hinted at what many suspected, that injuries to her teeth had made hunting natural prey difficult. A tiger unable to catch swift animals may turn to slower, more vulnerable targets. It is a tragic path, but one history has recorded more than once. One afternoon, desperate messengers reached me. A young woman had been taken while gathering fodder with others on a hillside. The survivors, frozen with terror, had fled to raise the alarm. When I arrived, the silence of the place weighed heavily upon every soul present. The ground bore unmistakable evidence of struggle and the passage of the tiger, but I shall spare unnecessary description. What mattered was that the people wanted only one thing, that no other family suffer the same fate. Word spread rapidly. Hundreds volunteered to help. The hills came alive with noise. Men beat drums. Voices echoed from ridge to ridge. The plan was simple. Force the tiger from cover toward a position where I might obtain a safe and certain shot. Hours passed. Every rustle tightened the nerves. Every snapped twig drew my attention. Then the jungle changed. The birds fell quiet. Even the wind seemed to wait. I saw movement. Orange against green. Black stripes flowing between bushes. She emerged with astonishing composure, not charging wildly, but advancing with the confidence of an animal that had outwitted hunters for years. For one brief moment our eyes met, mine fixed through the sights of my rifle, hers unwavering. I knew hesitation could cost not merely my own life, but those of many others standing beyond. I steadied my aim. The rifle spoke. The tiger faltered. A second shot followed. Then stillness. Complete stillness.
Aftermath.
The villagers approached cautiously. Some removed their caps. Others folded their hands in silent gratitude. No cheering rang through the hills. Only relief. For years they had lived under constant fear. That evening, for the first time in memory, people walked home without scanning every shadow along the path. As I examined the tiger, I observed damaged canine teeth, injuries long believed to have contributed to her inability to hunt normal prey effectively. The tragedy, I reflected, was not merely the lives she had taken. It was that circumstances had transformed one of nature's finest predators into a killer of humans. Many have called me a hunter, yet I have always believed the tiger deserves admiration, not hatred. The Champawat tiger became infamous because of the terrible toll she exacted upon human life, but she was also a creature shaped by hardship and injury. My task was never vengeance. It was to restore peace to frightened villages and prevent further loss of life. And so, whenever I think back to those Himalayan forests, I remember not triumph, but the uneasy balance between mankind and the wilderness, where one wounded predator altered the lives of thousands.
More than a hunt. The death of the Champawat Tigress brought immense relief to thousands of people who had lived in constant fear. Yet Jim Corbett himself did not celebrate the event as a triumph over nature. Instead, he reflected on the tragedy of a magnificent predator driven by circumstance into conflict with humanity. Today, his writings continue to shape our understanding of both conservation and the complex reasons why rare tigers become man-eaters. The story of the Champawat Tigress is not merely about fear, it is about survival, desperation, courage, and the fragile boundary between the human world and the wild. And it remains one of the most astonishing and haunting chapters in the history of wildlife.